Folks, I may not have a harmonica in my possession to play the blues, but I do have a bass guitar, and I can be like Larry Graham from Sly and the Family Stones, just plucking along, telling you all a little story about the old Wild West. Just to give you all a little reminder that this particular review was actually taken from a BOFAS on the Sofa episode. Once Upon a Time in the West.
Oh, best Western ever. One of them.
This movie alone, I can't even get enough of Once Upon a Time in the West at all. I've said for so long that Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is the greatest Western film of all time, and you can arguably say it is, and I'm one of the people who
That
agree.
is up there with it as well.
However, Once Upon a Time in the West, it was made by the same fucking guy.
It's made by Sergio Leone.
Now,
You know, the thing is, he hasn't made that many films, but my God, he is like a landmark when it comes to classic Westerns.
Oh my God! And he doesn't have a whole selection of Western films either. He's got a small library, but here's
Just
the
the
thing:
spaghetti Westerns with Eastwood and Once Upon a Time in the West, and I think something else. That's it.
Duck You, please. I think it's called Duck You something.
That is Duck. Oh, I forgot. It was like
Cluster
a sequel.
Duck? I don't know what it's called.
Most of his career,
He did Western movies.
it was in the '60s. Yeah.
However, the thing is that Sergio Leone, when he did Once Upon a Time in the West, now after he did the whole Clint Eastwood stuff, I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong. For everybody in the
I
chat,
think he said he was done, and then he ended up making.
He wanted to be done talking about Once Upon a Time in the West. But there was just something in him, and I believe it also inspired him to make Once Upon a Time in the West. And lo and behold, he gave us a fucking treasure. And if not, you can say is the greatest Western movie of all time. Because this film had absolute phenomenal storytelling. It had build-up. It had, you can say, one of the greatest villain entrances that's ever been done.
Henry Fonda. That was his only villain role.
And you want to know something about Henry Fonda? For the fact that this was the only villain role he's ever done, he left a major impact. The fact that after he...
Oh, my God. He's one of the greatest villains in movie history.
Now, for those who haven't seen Once Upon a Time in the West, I'm not going to spoil much, but I will say once you see his appearance and you hear the score play, you know exactly what type of character we're going to get with him.
Yep.
Same thing with Charles Bronson when he came in as harmonica. By the way, speaking of harmonica, the score for that whole movie...
Oh, it's one of the most beautiful scores you'll ever fucking hear.
Oh, my fuck. Every time I hear more of the score for this film, my fucking nipples, man, they turn into crystals. My nipples turn to crystals.
Your nipples turn into fucking cult revolvers.
Oh, cult revolvers.
How the nipples won the West.
There you go. There's a new porno film. How the Nipples Won the West.
And I said this before, and I say this again. Claudia Cardinale, without question, the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in a Western.
You know,
there's a reason for why she is, the way that she is.
Well, yeah, because fucking as soon as hell she came back, she had to witness something tragic, and because of that, she ended up, growing stern, serious. And ended up learning to take care of herself. And plus, there were certain times to where throughout the film, she literally had to do certain acts that she didn't want to do, but she had to, because of her own safety. So it was literally a
situation. Yeah, it's just like she either fucks herself in one way or fucks the whole village another way. So it's just like, yeah.
Cheyenne. Now, you want to know what I like about Cheyenne that makes him so fucking great? You think that this guy's gonna be a son of a bitch because of how much of a because you know how him and his gang came about. You thought there was gonna be problems between him and harmonica. Now, spoiler alert: when Cheyenne entered that bar and he came across with harmonica, you thought there was gonna be some problems going on. Especially
we thought there was gonna be some fucking mugs and fists flying and God knows what.
And the fact that since Cheyenne, he also happens to have a reputation that people don't like him for because he's done a lot of crime. However,
He's got a history
Cheyenne
of violence.
Cheyenne, he said himself that I have my own fucking limits. He doesn't do anything that involves women or children.
I was just like, yeah, you know what? I may have done some shit in the past, but at least I know my boundaries.
So you have to give literally.
He has a code of honor to some extent.
So that is one thing where it turns around that Cheyenne, you know what? He's going to be a good guy throughout the film. That's where the movie plays you off, is where you think that this is going to be a bad guy, but he flips you around and turns out that this guy's actually good. The storytelling. You want to know the beautiful thing is that when it came towards the end and that whole twist of how they knew each other for so long, it was like, you know what? Yeah, it fucking got you. You didn't need no dialogue.
No, that's what's genius about it.
The beauty about this film is that you did not need no dialogue to explain your story. You had, I'm going to say it, visual presentation.
That time it actually makes sense, Care Bear.
You had visual presentation to understand what was going on with your story. You literally managed to put two and two together. And that's what makes the movie so fantastic, is that it builds up and up and up. And then once it comes time to your answers being given,
like, just to give you an example, like, he did A Fistful of Dollars. He did For a Few Dollars More, The Good and the Bad, the Ugly, Once Upon a Time in the West, Duck, You Sucker, yep, and Once Upon a Time in America, one of the greatest crime films ever. The guy is an achievement of filmmaking. He's like one of the most inspiring. Even though he didn't make as many films, he left a fucking impact that will last forever.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, Once Upon a Time in the West, the movie is a fucking masterpiece. It is, and that's the third time I'm ever saying it's a masterpiece. 6 out of 5, whatever. If you folks have not seen Once Upon a Time in the West, you folks need to watch this movie. And when you see it, you are going to be blown away with the storytelling. But once again, one of the little things what made this movie so great is that it let the film breathe.
You know, funny, a lot of people say, I think The Good and the Bad and the Ugly is best Western. It's funny because he also made that one. So.
That's the other thing, is that so you can say whatever film that Sergio Leone made, it's fantastic. But yeah, folks, for those who haven't seen it, you need to see Once Upon a Time in the West. You are going to be absolutely amazed with this movie, and you'll see why it is considered, you can say, the greatest Western that is ever made.